Hey guys, welcome. I was determined to do this live stream outside today, and look, I found a place out of the wind because it's not super windy, but it's windy enough to not do a live stream in the wind. In the wind, in the sun. And as soon as I start and press live, Mr. Blue Heron decides to join us, which is stand in your truth, stand up for what you believe in, stand up for what you believe in, speak your truth, live your truth, hold tight to your integrity, to your values, to what you believe in, to your, do you know what I mean? To your truth, to your purpose, like all of that jazz. So say hi, let me know when you're here. Lovely to have you here. Let's talk some real ass shit today, right? I've got fire burning in my friggin' belly and my screen is filthy dirty. Does anyone like really get irritated? Like, I can't have a dirty screen. I don't know what that was from on my screen. Okay, I'm just gonna share this and then I'm gonna be present with you, but I would love to hear how you're going because this is like an energy update as well, obviously, because we're talking about some pretty tricky energies this week. Hey Judy. And I'm curious because there's two threads of people that I'm seeing. As always, there's the balance, there's the shit, and then there's the I'm in peace and joy, right? I really notice it at different times. There's two people going through two different things at the same time, which is just kind of how we keep it in balance, I guess. All right, so let me get my wiggle on sharing this so I can talk to you guys. Oh no, it's doing this thing again, or maybe it just takes a bit for the... It's doing it this morning I just came out of a huge long live stream in Trust Intuition group this morning. A support call in there. And yeah, kind of was like my fire was burning already when I was talking there. I'm like, I need to talk about this on a public live stream today. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear. I'm human just like you guys. Did you know that? Did you know that I'm human just like you guys? I lose my shit too at times, but there's a reason, and I want to talk about that because yeah, it's kind of interesting reason, should we say. Okay, and this is not doing the sharing thing again. Let me see. Alright, it's going to try one more time. Nope, not on that one. This one. Oh, it's so peaceful here next to the water though. Can you feel that? Can you feel it? Yes! Okay, sweet, I found it. And yes, I can chat. One more. Oh my god, can you see him? Oh my god. Like I just pressed live and check him out. Like, it's like 2 feet behind me. Hi mate! Just in case you guys didn't believe me, this is about speaking and standing in the truth, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay. I just got distracted. Ah, the beautiful bird. Don't you just love spirit? I just love how spirit works. Okay, cool. So let me speak about, okay, maybe I need to move this closer. I could use some real ass shit today. Okay, cool. Hey Shannon, I get angry at work. How do you get control again and stay calm? We're never in control, number one. We are never in control. To try and think that we can be in control or get in control will drive us into more insanity, drive us into more anger, drive us like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no, yeah, we're not in control. But there's a reason that anger comes up, okay? And this is where I want to talk about today. I'm going to move this forward a bit because the comments for some reason are like taking a while to scroll up. Beautiful creature. Yeah, the actual animal totem for blue herons is speaking your truth, standing in truth. Oh my God. Holding your truth. Okay, let me turn this around. Right, I'm like sitting on an angle here, can you tell? Yay, I know, look, I found this little secret place. Like if I turn it around, you'll see what I mean. Like the tide's out. If the tide was in, I wouldn't be able to see if I was sitting up there, it's so windy up there. But I managed to find this spot down on the cliff face here. So if the tide was in, I wouldn't be able to see here. So it's perfect. Hi, Leon. Hi, everyone. Okay, so let me, like this anger thing, and this is where, like, it's funny because, you know, like I keep reminding you guys, like what, just making sure I'm not falling out. I keep reminding you as well that, like, what's going on at the moment is, this is really important, okay? And I know I keep harping on about it, but I'm going to keep reminding you guys about it because everyone's losing their shit in a way, and it's like old patterns, yeah? So the thing is with, so number one, and I know I've repeated myself, but I'm just gonna do it again anyway because I need to keep reminding you guys about all these cycles that we're in and ending at the moment. Like it's all part of it, okay? So we're in October. It's the 10th month. Remember when I say it takes 9 to 10 months to birth a new reality? There's a 9-month cycle and an 18-month cycle. A mother is pregnant from 9 to 10 months. For 9 to 10 months and then she births the baby. We're in the 10th month, okay? So we're releasing the old reality. As I said, a mother will give birth at 9 to 10 months and literally it's like a death even though there's a birth, because those two new parents, for example, will never, not ever be parents again, okay? So it's a death of an old life, okay? So we're releasing this year, we're releasing this 10 months, like we're birthing in, right? It's funny that Christmas is the birth of Jesus. It's like birthing coming up in a moment, right? So we're releasing this last 10 months or so. Now, not only are we releasing this year, we are in 2019. It is the end of a cycle. Like in numerology, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it starts at 0 again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, do you know what I mean? Like 9, 10, 11, 12, and it starts a new cycle. Like 9 is the end of the digits before it goes into double digits. So we're in 2019, so we're releasing this whole decade, okay? In particular, I'm noticing with people is that what was going on 10 years ago is the kind of core threads that we're releasing, yeah? Now, so there's the 10-year cycle that we're releasing a decade. We're coming into a whole new dawning of the age of Aquarius or whatever, right? And so in that sense, it's a big deal. Like, do you know what I mean? So if, you know, like you're losing your shit, or you're just like, why are these old patterns coming up, or why is this happening again, or, you know, like all that stuff, like we're releasing a lot on a collective level right now, okay? So just keep that in mind, number one. Number two is that it's Halloween next week, and we're in that dark death portal. It's a time of death, rebirth. Like this time of year is always that, okay? Now, if you'd read my post the other day, like I ended up bawling my eyes out crying on Tuesday night because I've been working on this thing, and this is where I'm going to start to get a little bit personal, and I'm a little bit nervous sharing about this stuff today, so I'm just going to check the comments first. I just check the comments and just distract talking about what I'm being guided to talk about. Okay. Okay. So Shari says, I lost my shit severely with my son yesterday, ended up triggering each other to have some good cries together. Though after he pushed me beyond my capabilities. Yep. So in that sense as well, oh hey Matthew, I didn't see you join. Hi. So in that sense, it's like out of the whole lake, the heron is just there. Like seriously, like I don't know, it's pretty cool. Got a thing with herons. They used to come in my backyard all the time before my dogs came along. Okay. So yeah, so this is a bit of a vulnerable to share. which I'm going to interrupt and distract again by saying that the inner circle is closing, guys. Trust the Intuition is on the final round, and so is the inner circle. Like on Halloween, so the 31st of August is the last chance that you can get into inner circle or Trust the Intuition, or if you come in the inner circle, you get access to Trust the Intuition. So I'm not distracting. This is important. You must come into Trust the Intuition. We just did a super deep and really awesome intuitive support call in the Trust Intuition group this morning. It went for like 2.5 hours or something. It was so big and I forgot, so I had to come back and talk about past lives and talking about getting your throat slit open, which I spoke about on the Daily Oracle, which is up on Instagram TV. You can check it out. Which, by the way, is what I want to talk about as well, because I feel like with this past 10-year cycle, like, and if it's interesting, right? Like, you know, they talk about we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is the dawn, the light bearer. It's the age of Aquarius. So, like, we're, you know, if we really think about what we're releasing the last 10 years, the cycles, all the things that I just said, plus it's Halloween, like right now is really a lot of darkness, if you may. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. It's like the light bringer, the look at the light over here on my hand. The light bringer, it's the age of Aquarius, that we're moving into the light. Like the darkest part is before the dawn, before the birth, before into the light, right? Now with that, it's like if you think about the next 10 years being the light bringer, the age of Aquarius, the dawning of the light, like there's going to be a lot of darkness coming up before the light. Do you know what I mean? So it's very normal to be feeling this way. Yeah? Look at him, just chilling there. It's very, very normal to be feeling this way. So when we look at that, okay, so let's get back to the point of my fucking story. Okay. So I lost my shit yesterday. I don't usually do it. And it's so interesting, and the reason I'm pointing out the heron so much is because the reason I lost my shit yesterday is the reason heron was around guiding me through the passage that I went through to begin with, about the whole point of why I lost my shit yesterday. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's so interesting that, okay, just gonna speak it. Okay, are you guys ready? Or should we like talk about how beautiful the water looks for a second? Oh dear, I know. I guess I'm nervous because there's lots of things here. So, where do I even start? Okay, the reason I lost my shit yesterday was it was an old pattern, and it's so funny because I spoke, you know, like I lost my shit, you know, and anyway, then I spoke to clients and they're like, I lost my shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, it's not me. And then we went to a homeschool group and they're like, our child's not here today because, you know, they all just lost their shit. And I'm like, oh, it's the time for it. I'm like, even everyone's using that language. I'm like, what is it interesting about? You know, what's that about? So it was just interesting, and I was aware of it even this week. And remember I said to you that this next 3 weeks is going to be pretty intense, and I was even getting until the 16th of November when I was driving to the homeschool group yesterday. We went to, you know, like I was getting the message it's going to be around until the 16th of November. Now this sort of energy. So when you're like feeling like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, you know, it's like, how do we get through it? Well, we ride the wave. Like, how do we get through? We ride the wave. We take care of ourselves. Now, the interesting thing is that pretty sure it's Mercury retrograde around now-ish, you know, and when all this darkness is here, okay, so a couple of really important things to always check in with yourself about, blah, 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 is that when the darkness is here, you've got, and I spoke about this on live stream in the Trust Intuition group, when we look at the light and then we look at the darkness, when we look at masculine and we look at feminine, feminine is darkness, yeah? Feminine is black. It's the yin, and then there's the yang. The yang is the masculine. The masculine is white, expansive, and bright. The yin is feminine. It's dark, it's wet, it's a cocoon, it's darkness, it's a hole, it's black. Like, do you know what I mean? And so when we look at feeling dark emotions, we're in a very feminine space, right? In a sense of like looking at what we're actually healing here. So when we look at like these old patterns that are surfacing, like in Mercury retrograde, everyone's like, I hate Mercury retrograde, da da da. It's like it's actually a really awesome time for review. Okay, when we get out of the like, I hate Mercury retrograde, and we look at Mercury retrograde as an awesome time to review our goals, review our plans, review, right? Like get past and review everything. Okay, so when old patterns are surfacing, they can be surfacing to come up and out, and they can be surfacing to come up into the light, yeah, and to clear out old threats. So for me, you know how I did a live stream, I don't know, on the weekend or last week, I think it was last week, and I was talking about finding old love letters in boxes and stuff, and then my ex had actually seen that live stream and like messaged me, and he's like, oh, you know, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of you always or something. And I was just like, for fuck's sake. Like I knew instantly he'd seen that fucking live stream, and then he messaged me, and I was just like, I just rang because I was just like, I'm so tired of this. Like, it's just like, I've reached my fucking limit. Like we have been over for months, start of the year, before that, 5 fucking years, 6, 7, going into 7 years, done. I'm done. Like if I was going to be with him, I would be with him. We are over. But he's just like hanging on. And I'm just like at my end with it. You know, when you tolerate something, and then it's just like, nah, it's not happening anymore. Like, you know, when you just shift. And for me, that was yesterday with that. It was just like, I lost my shit about it because I was on the weekend, and I rang him and I said, that wasn't about you. Like that, you know, I'm like, is that what happened? Did you watch my live stream? And then you fucking, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I was wondering about that. And I'm like, it wasn't you. Okay. It wasn't you. Like we ended over. We're never getting back together. Like I lost my shit. I went off, and I was just like, just leave me alone. Like, just like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Like, I have been ignoring texts, like for like from February to like August, I think it was. I just ignored everything, because you know when you even respond to something and like they get a fee from it, and so like, do you know what I mean? Even if it's, and this is what we're talking about in the Trust Intuition group this morning, when we're looking at leaving unhealthy relationships and we're stepping out of codependent relationships and moving into healthy relationships, which is what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, nearly 2 years now. I made a conscious choice where I'm not going to do relationships because I want to heal my codependency issues, right? And then, you know, been following me, then that happened last year, and it gave me deep insight into all this stuff. And so when I looked at it, it was like looking at all these like patterns. And when we are looking at releasing an unhealthy relationship, we have to remember that usually 99.9% of the time, we have grown up in an environment that is not modeled a healthy, conscious, communicative, loving relationship. Like, is probably 99.9% of the population didn't have the ideal. Apparently, okay, some people think that they did, and that's fine. So, like, this is no judgment. Like, please know, I'm talking about my own experience and what was shared in Trust Intuition this morning. So when we go to look at healing a relationship and stepping away from a healthy one, any form of connection, whether it's good connection or bad connection, is a connection. And most of the time, we only, like, we've been in relationships where that form of, even though it's a shit communication or it's an argument or something, it's a feed and it's a form of connection. It's a form of love. Like, that's the only way we've known how to feel love. So we're like rewiring the ways to feel loved. Now, in that as well, right? And I'm getting to the big core of why I was bawling my eyes out. And if you read that post on Tuesday or Wednesday, and you know, like, all of this is about support. Like, this is what we're talking about in Trust Intuition. That for whatever reason, I'm going to share it here too. That when we look at a loving relationship, what are the main bases of a loving relationship? Like, what are they? Like, tell me. Comment, and even if you're watching the replay, comment and let me know. Like, what are the bases of a loving, healthy relationship? Comment below and tell me. So if you had read, while I'm waiting for those comments, if you had read my post the other day, like you will see that I had written in there like the core foundation that led me into that big deep cry, and how I traveled that was about releasing coffee, right? And I was like, if I released coffee, like, you know, if I thought about releasing coffee, and that dropped me into feeling all the pain of not feeling supported in my entire life, right? And that was like traveling this thread that went through this space, right? Respect and honesty. Yes, they're definitely things. The main two core bases as well, right, is, okay, there's got some comments coming through. Honesty, communication, faithfulness, respect and trust. Yeah, and how is trust built? How do we end up trusting somebody? Right? Because the two main factors about that are support and safety. Like there's so many things. By allowing, yeah, definitely, not controlling. Feeling safe in a relationship, stability, consistency, right? Because if one person leaves a relationship or threatens to leave the relationship, it creates an instability. It creates an emotional unsafeness, whatever the proper words are, right? And so when we look at creating a stable relationship, we're really looking at building the foundations of safety and stability, right? Trust is built up over time, yes. And how do we end up trusting someone? Because they follow through with their words, because they don't emotionally harm us, because they don't put us down, because they don't, like, do you know what I mean? They don't emotionally abandon us. They don't do any of that stuff. Now, it's interesting when we're looking at a partner, it's also looking at those values. Are we doing that with ourselves? Are we emotionally abandoning ourselves by overeating or returning to drugs or returning to a relationship? Are we emotionally abandoning ourselves? Because we will never feel safe in a relationship if we're already abandoning ourselves in that way. Right? Now, this came up in detail in Trust Intuition this morning, and it's interesting. I don't know, it's like a theme at the moment, right? Because when we look at, like, if we really look at the structures of the world right now, there's a lot of instability going on. There has to be a destruction before a reconstruction. There's a destruction and deconstruction of any sort of pillars of support before something new is created, right? And there's a lot of things that are very unstable in the world at the moment that could go either way, right? When we look at the collective and we look at the past 10 years and we're moving into the age of Aquarius, into the light, right? It's like when we're shifting out of one area of consciousness and we're moving into another area of consciousness, there's a cold deconstruction that goes on before we get there, right? Now, it's interesting, like for me personally, like when I've been, you know, like I broke down to Ali like the other day. I was just like, oh my God, this stuff is so fucking stressful. Like, and it's so weird because like I've been going through, you know, like as you guys know, like a changed reality awareness to a company, and like I'm still learning company structures, and I like company structures, but more like because I've got an online business overseas, so working out all the like tax and fees and like how do we like match them up, and this, like, do you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, whoa, like, you know, all these things, like it's, you know, and as I say, whenever we're learning something new, it's overwhelming as fuck, right? Like our whole brain neural pathways are changing. Like remember when you drove a car, it was so overwhelming, and now you don't even think about it. And I know that, you know, like this company structure, is creating stability. And it's so interesting because when I look at why I'm doing what I'm doing, there's so many reasons why, but one is to create stability and to be able to support my daughter. Like, that is a core reason, like why any of us work, right? It just so happens that I'm choosing it to doing it this way. I don't know what the chopper's flying around for. So looking for me, quick, hide. So when we look at that, it's this space around, you know, coming into, you know, like stability. When we look at stability, stability is a masculine trait, right? To be able to hold space, presence, stability, like it's stable, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a masculine trait. So when we're looking at the way society has been raised, for example, with emotional instability being normal in the way humans have raised each other, in a sense of like control, right? When we talk about this control, like how do we not control? We don't control anything. Why do we get angry? Because we're not in control. Why do we get angry? Because somebody is crossing our boundaries, right? It's why I lost my shit yesterday, because I've said no consistently for friggin' 2 to 3 years now, and I'm like, when is it going to get through your head? We are over, we're never getting back together, leave me alone. No, like I lost my shit because, and then I knew because I asked, you know, it's like, it was still going on, and that's why yesterday morning, maybe if it's like a police job or something. Anyway, they are looking for me. No. Like I lost my shit yesterday because I just, like I sent a message, or was it yesterday? It was the day before I sent a message or something, because he's like still sending me messages after the weekend, and I'm like, I was like, what do you actually want from me? Like I was so stressed out just trying to understand, like talking to my accountant, talking to Ali who's looking after my accounts, and trying to wrap my head around the account stuff, right? Like that's why I'm like giving it to somebody. So I'm clear on my money, and just like sort out the systems for me. That's, you know, handing that over. But it's like trying to wrap my head around it, and just so, it's just been so stressful, and I'm like, why am I so stressed about this? And this is another part that I guess I wanted to share, but it's you know, like moving into creating a company and expanding to where my vision wants to take me. And this is interesting, right? Because when I just started doing this, I always knew where I was headed, but I didn't know the details, right? And as I broke down crying, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, to Ali, and I said, if anybody had told me how stressful or how much ins and outs there is about running a company, I probably wouldn't have done it. And then I was like, in myself, I'm like, so thank fuck I didn't ask anybody's opinion, and I just trusted my intuition and jumped in. Because, you know, we get confused when we start asking other people's opinions, and then we take on their opinions, and then we forget what our heart wants to do, right? We're 10 steps closer. Yay, Ali's onto it. So good. So when we're like looking at, you know, like structures, like I know that all of this, even though stressful, I'm very conscious, and I caught myself yesterday. I'm like, it's okay, Hannah, you're just learning new systems. It's okay. It's going to be normal soon. And what dropped in, and again, I feel nervous sharing this, but you know, if I'm really to move into the real worldwide, big company that I see reality awareness, you know, expanding into with my vision, like I have to have the structures, well, I don't have to, I'm choosing to have the structures that will support my vision where it's headed to help change the world, right? Now in that requires me to shift and change to be able to hold not only the structure, but the finances and capacity to come through that company to be able to support, to help change the world. Now in doing that, there's a lot of energetics that need to shift and change and rewire and step up and shift. Now that has been stretching me to no end, right? So when I look at, you know, like the neural pathways changing and everything moving, like I've got a lot, like, and single mumming for like since February, because she hasn't been to her dad's, and so it's just been like, it's been a lot, right? And then my ex is like, oh my case, like, I miss you, I wish you could be together. And I'm like, for fuck, it's like, what? Like, you know, like, I haven't been contacting. I was just like, oh my God, like, can you just, like, I just don't get it. And I'm still really frustrated about it. And yes, I'm showing my hand, I've still got work to do on it or something. But when I really dropped into it yesterday, like, the thing that pissed me off was like, I've said no that many times. I'm like, why do we get angry? Why do we get angry? Usually because somebody is crossing our boundaries. Like, it's so important to remember that we value something, we've put a boundary in place. Somebody crosses that, our anger is showing us somebody has crossed our boundary and what's important to us and what we're valuing, right? So it's really important when we're angry to kind of ask that question, like, what is important to me here in this space, right? Because then you can really tap into what's really going on underneath the surface. Man, there's like never a helicopter flying around in circles. Like, what the hell? What does that mean? So when we look at, you know, like structure, stability, like, you know, and when, like I said, like there's a destruction going on right now. Like when we're looking at releasing the darkness from the planet and everyone's shifting in consciousness and we're all awakening. Like, if you can imagine like how far we've come since 2012 with awakening, imagine where we're going to be in another 10 years time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when we look at the age of Aquarius and the age of light coming up, like all these dark structures are going to have to shift and change. And so when we look at what is shifting in our own life around structural change, around feeling safe, around creating stability, creating support, like feeling safe, like, do you know what I mean? Like, those things are really what we're working on when we're looking at changing the world, or we're changing, like when we're really coming into consciousness and connection to self. It's about feeling safe and vulnerable with self, to be able to feel self, right? It's circling to you, then over your house. It's so weird, man. It's so weird. It's kind of annoying. So it's really important to like just be gentle on yourself. Like I said, like, it's going to be here and around here until, like, I don't know, I got the 16th of November. I just feel like it's going to be that sort of energy. So, you know, but at the same time, it's not like, oh, okay, this is just the energy. Like, it's like, no, well, look at what you're releasing. Like, look at what you're releasing and maybe you work at consciously releasing that. So, you know, what was going on 10 years ago? What are the patterns that are shifting? What, you know, if you think about, you know, where you're going to be in 5 and 10 years time, like, do those patterns need to still come with you? And maybe you haven't been in those patterns for a long time, but they've surfaced again because they're releasing to not be brought into your future with you, right? When I look at, you know, yesterday, like, I ended up saying, like, stop harassing me or I will, like, go to the police. Like, I'd had enough. Like, nothing I've said over the past few weeks of like, we're not going to get back together, it's over, it's done. Like, and then he's like, are you sure it's done? Like, I'll see you, like, I'll never contact you again. And then fucking 2 days later, and I'm like, man. So sometimes you need to set really strong boundaries in place. Now when we do that, oh my God, there's another shopper. When we do and set really strong boundaries in place, it's like really like upping the self-worth. We go back over those boundaries because we don't value ourselves enough. But when we do go back into those spaces, I don't even know if you guys can hear me. That's the Medi helicopter, that one now. So noisy. I almost didn't do this live stream and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done this live stream. When we go back over those boundaries, that's when we see where we've dropped our value in ourselves, or we feel guilty, or there's something that we need to work on underneath there to increase the self-worth and belief and trust in ourselves. Just like Heron came on the start of this live stream. Oh look, he's still there. Oh my God, look at the fish. Oh, can you guys see that? The fish are jumping out of the water. It's having a good feast. Is they're really looking at the values underneath, because we get angry when we're dropping our own boundaries, when somebody is crossing our own values and boundaries, right? And then we get angry at ourselves because we know that we're not supposed to be in that situation. We don't trust our intuition in the start to stay away. Now, I knew that even responding to that message and calling him and just telling him to fuck off was going to open the door. And then I got pissed off, and I think I was more pissed off and lost my shit yesterday because I knew this was going to happen. Like, do you know what I mean? But it just got to a point where I'm like, stop contacting me. Like, why don't you just, you know what I mean? And I was just like, stop harassing me or I'm going to go to the police. I haven't heard from him since. If I hear from him again, he's going to the police. Oh, the choppers were so loud. Like, yeah. Can feel that vibration. I'm like, let's come to the water. It's all peaceful. Right. right. Okay, is there anything else I need to share about this? I thought there was. So someone asked me, will it pass? Right? And I'm like, yeah, everything always passes. But it's learning to take care of ourselves in the of it, right? In the hardest part, in the tears, in all of that. And that comes into really being able to drop unnecessary things and do the necessary things. So instead of doing the dishes, maybe you go to bed early. Or maybe you call a friend instead of sitting there on your own crying. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just things like, how do you support yourself? Like, how do you support yourself? Like, talk to your mentor, or, you know, like, get an early night. Like, what are the things you do to support yourself? And, you know, in some, one of my students said the other day, she's like, do I need to do like this process or this process or this process? And I was like, you know what? Like, you do a lot of work all the time. I think you just need to, like, just cancel all your plans and just chill the fuck out for the day. Like, do you know what I mean? She's like, oh yeah, I really just need that. And I was like, yeah, like sometimes we get so caught up in our routines and doing our thing that we forget that sometimes we just need to stop and just do us, you know? I feel like it's a big part of it at the moment too, is like really stepping into putting yourself first. Like the biggest, you know, if there's a word for the past few weeks of energy and still to come, the energy word is intense. Like, it's going to be intense. Like, we're moving into dark moon on Monday, which, by the way, the animal shaman is we're holding the animal shaman. So that's a, you know how I usually hold the full moon ceremony, I'm holding a new moon ceremony. So on dark moon, new moon peak, it will be the full peak crossover timing, the actual ceremony. I've got I got guided to hold animal shaman, which is like activating your animal shaman, which, you know, like if you can sense like animals' intuition, connection to energy, that's what we're activating, right? So yeah, that's going to be something else. And yeah, so that's on Monday. And so just be conscious, like we are in dark moon. Like right now is the time when we can be bleeding, not always should, you know, like, and it's a time of shedding. Like, it's dark moon, it's called crone, it's the death before the rebirth of the new moon. Like, it's a time for cleaning out, it's a time for crying, it's a time for reassessing things that aren't working in your life. It's a time for yin, it's the yin that we're talking about, it's the dark, it's the yin, yeah? It's really important. So plus then Halloween's coming up a couple of days later. Like, it's an intense time, and the Mercury retrograde, and like whatever, I don't know if Mercury retrograde finishes on the 16th, but I got the message that it's going to be intense. It's going to be this energy until then. So just be aware of that. So Monique says, just jumped on. I'm feeling like I need to support myself today and take the afternoon off and go for a swim at the beach. Yes. It was like yesterday, like I lost my shit. I'm like, oh my God, get me the freaking hell out of the house. And we went down the beach, and I just had to sit there. I just had to sit at the beach. I just had to get outside. Like, I just had to get away from my neighbors, my house. Right? Do you know what I mean? It was just like, I just needed to get outside, and we just sat there. And then everything felt better after that. I was just like, oh, you know, like if anything, and I always say it, like nature sounds, like sounds in nature. So I'm like, come and sit by the water, and the freaking choppers are flying around. The sound of the ocean, of the wind blowing through the trees, like nature sounds, birds, blah, blah, blah. You can hear them probably on this live stream. Apart from all the planes that decided to join me on the live stream too, just in case, like you didn't think that I was like still in the city. You know, like 2 hours in nature sounds resets your entire energy field and brain frequency. 2 hours of nature sounds. So when was the last time you spent 2 hours outside? Yeah? Do that, sleep and water and then reassess everything. Because I guarantee you'll be like, oh, what was I worried about? So if you want this deep support, if you want me on tap 24/7, the inner circle is increasing, and well, its doors are closing next week. And then when I reopen the inner circle, it's going to be quite significantly higher. So is Trusted Intuition. It's all going to be a little bit changed and upgraded. So if you want to get in now to receive the upgrades without the investment upgrades as well, oh, see, you got to jump into it, guys, right? Even the fish are like, I want that. So I'm going to put a link in the comments, actually. I'm going to do that right now. So the inner circle is 12 months one-on-one with me. And the inner circle is where you get access to every single thing that I've ever created and will create in the next 12 months. So you get 12 months access into the full moon ceremony. Just like on Animal Shaman next week, you get access to that. You get access to any course, right, that I create in the next 12 months. You also get your Trust Intuition certification, should you choose to do that. I'm just going to turn that down. I'm popping the link in the comments right now for you. So the inner circle, I've just popped the link in there for you. But this is where you get access to everything. And I can't believe how close this guy is to me. Well, it could be a girl. So with the inner circle, you also get distance healings. There's phone calls a month. So this is like deep, intuitive one-on-one coaching with me. You get unlimited access via WhatsApp for 12 months. So I'm on tap 24/7. So anything that's going on, like these dark, like waves that we're coming into, you can be like, Hannah, what is going on? And I'll be like, it's okay, it's not just you. And I can help decipher and go into yours specifically around the patterns or anything else that is surfacing to help you shift and move into your next level. So the Life Purpose Accelerator closes next week. It is on the 31st, yeah? So on Halloween midnight, Australian Eastern Standard Time, the doors are closing for that, and also for Trust Intuition as the final round. So if you don't want the inner circle, if you're someone who doesn't want it all, which I don't know that would be you, but Trust Intuition is closing as well next week. So we are on the final round for Trust Intuition, but the Life Purpose Accelerator has it all in there, Trust Intuition included, including your advanced certificate as well. So it just depends. Where do you really want to be in 12 months time? In the same place, or do you want to rapidly accelerate your life purpose and get on with it because you can feel yourself bursting out with it and you know there's something missing, but you just can't put the pieces of the puzzle together? Life Purpose Accelerator will push you forward in that direction and create the life you really want to create. So the link is in the comments, or you can send me a message, or you'll see it on my page as well. Remember to take deep care of yourself, guys. If you think this live stream can help somebody, please tag them in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. I shall see you guys soon. Love you.